Hi all, thanks for joining this session. I'm Patrick Batiza. I'm the Gauteng branch manager and also an E2 lecturer. If you're new to CIMA, it is important that you are in this session. Today we're going to be looking at how to complete a level in a year. After this presentation, I encourage you to use the web chat function to make contact with me. I'm available to answer any questions that you might have. A good question is, can I complete a level in a year? Most new students, we find that they have a difficulty in terms of looking at how many subjects they can actually take in a year. Usually, they are coming from university where they were actually doing 4 to 5 subjects, and they think they can actually do the same with CIMA. We see a lot of students, they actually take about 3 subjects in a semester. Along the semester, you find that they may drop 1 or 2 so that at least they can concentrate on 1 or 2, so that at least at the end of the day, they have got 1 that they pass. Or sometimes they continue with all the 3 and unfortunately, they fail all the 3. We call this a classical rookie mistake. Okay, so if we are to look at the certificate level, how many subjects do you have? So you have 4 subjects that you have, that's BA1 up to BA4. So let's actually see that is it reasonable or is it attainable for you to actually complete a level in a year? Because what will happen is that as a first timer, you are not quite sure in terms of how much time it takes, or even in terms of the workload that is there. But let's see the possibility of it. So CIMA suggests that the certificate level is best completed 1 paper at a time. So you should allow yourself about 6 to 8 weeks to study for each paper, dedicating at least 6 to 8 hours of study per week. So if you look, this would be roughly about 50 hours in total that you actually need. So roughly we're looking at about 50 hours for each subject. This is the right method to study if you are doing home study or online classes. But let's see if you are doing face-to-face classes, how you can actually be able to do it. So in terms of the face-to-face classes, so in this instance that we have, you as a student, you'll be actually doing BA1 on a Saturday. And for us, what we usually advise is that you have 2 separate days other than the day that you come for class. It's a question that I usually get from students. Patrick, why 2 days? So if you look over here, we have got so the class is on a Saturday, but over here, there's a Thursday. So Thursday, you use it to prepare for what you're actually going to be doing in class. Then you attend class, and then Monday, what do? You revise what you then did in class. So ideally, it will be 2 days, and then the 3rd day that you are coming for class. So if you look in that instance, then you actually still have space for another module. So you can actually then take another module that you can do on a Saturday, and then you have again 2 days that you can study. So if you can see from this area, you still have a life. You still have a Friday that is open here. You still have a Saturday evening. You still have a Sunday evening. So it's doable where you can actually be able to do 2 subjects in a semester. And then let's look at the professional level. So in terms of your professional level, in order for you to complete a level in a year, you would actually need to do first these 3 OT you actually need to do the OT subjects, which is the objective test. So you have got your E1, your P1, your F1, and then afterwards you then need to look at doing the case study. But let us actually look at how you could approach it if you are to do all of that. So as we can see here, we have got some other subjects that are heavier than others. So CIMA recommends that you use about 150 hours for each OT subject. I think by now we now know what OT is, objective test, OT subject. So it's on the part that for your heavier subjects, if you can see here, your heavier subjects that you have got your P1, your P2, your F1, and the lighter subject that you have is your E. So your E pillar, you can actually then use about 134 hours. We are saying it's lighter, not that it's easier. If you try, you see, a lot of accounting students, they usually have problem with the E pillar. Mostly because the E pillar, it does not have anything to do with accounting. It's a business module. So it's modules that are under the business. So it's on that part that sometimes you get that some other accounting students have got problems with it. And in terms of the case study, it's 100 hours is what CIMA recommends. So why it will be 100 hours? Because when you're looking at your case study, remember, with your case study, it's an integration of these 3 subjects that you've already done. So you don't have a lot of knowledge gaps that you actually have. So 100 hours would be sufficient. But if you are a gateway student, you might actually need more than 100 hours because you would need to actually close the knowledge gaps for your E, for your P, and for your F. If you are doing the operational case study, you find that you need a lot of technical skills because 65% of the exam actually draws your technical ability. But as you go by to your management and your strategic case study, you see that they move away from technical skills to your business skills. Let's see how that time earlier we had seen how it is possible to actually fit the certificate level. Let's see if it is also possible when you are doing your professional subjects. So here we are starting, if you are doing the operational level, you've got your E1 and your P1. So you are doing class on a Saturday. So remember, I think by now we now know why 2 days. So other than the day you come for class, you need 2 days. 2 days for what, Patrick? The day that you practice what you're going to be doing in class, and then the day you're coming for class, which we don't count under the 2 days. The 2 days is separate from class. And then the other day, which you then revise what you then did in class. So if you see that that would then lead to a total of about 108 hours. And then if you come here, you still have some space here, which means you can actually slot in another subject. You can slot in P1, and then you can then do it. So for your P1, you can actually then use 3 days, because remember, we said these are the heavier subjects. Remember how many hours we need. We need about 150 hours in total. So here, when you're looking at this, it comes to a total of about 132 hours. So if you check, even for the lighter subject, we had said you need about 132 hours, which means that you still have some hours that are lacking here. So then what you then need to do is, usually what we advise is that when you're about to write, like for example, maybe 3 or 2 weeks before you're about to write, then you then increase your momentum, because what we have realized is that during that time, that's when a lot of students, they actually then get maybe study leave at work, and you can actually be able to employ more time to this. So try to see, will it be possible to actually do 3 subjects in a semester given? So yeah, what we're looking at is that Monday you're studying, Tuesday you're studying, Wednesday you're studying, Thursday you're studying, you have a Friday evening, okay, and then Saturday you're studying, Sunday you're studying. So that is why we usually advise that it's better to actually do a maximum of 2 subjects, so that at the end of the day, remember here we've been spoken about life. So you actually also need to live, so that CIMA is not everything that it concerns to you about your life. So in terms of the case study, how to prepare for the case study, for us, what we advise is that 6 weeks is enough to prep. So 6 weeks then equates to about 96 hours, shy away 4 hours from what SEMA actually also recommends. So how do we break down this week? So these 6 weeks. So we advise that your week 1, week 2, you use it to close the knowledge gaps, the E, the P, and the F. Remember, you shall need these, the E, the P, and the F to integrate as you do your case study. As you have closed the knowledge gaps, then you then come to the third week. In the third week, what do we advise? The third week, we then advise by that time, your pre-scene is out. So your pre-scene is that case study that you're going to be doing in your exam. So your pre-scene by that time, it will be out. And then we advise that go and analyze it. Go and analyze it. Act as if you're actually working for that company. So that at the end of the day, if they say John, you know who John is. And then, so you do your analysis, you write your notes and everything. And then afterwards, when you've done that, then week 4 and week 5, those are the 2 weekends that you then come for the exam prep classes with IPTC. So it's ideal, it's good that you come for the exam prep classes when you have actually analyzed the case study. So that at the end of the day, you can actually be able, because when you're in class, that's when you can actually see people, they speak of the different, because they're coming from different industries. You find that you'll be actually sharing knowledge. Sometimes as you analyzed, you didn't actually see a certain angle because of the industry which you operate in. So that was week 5 and week 4 and week 5. And then week 6, then it's Patrick, what about week 6? Week 6 now is the final week before you actually write your exams. So what do? You use that week to actually do the revision. So we advise 6 weeks. So let's get started. Now that you know how many subjects you can commit to, let's look at the various study approaches that you can actually use with IPTC. Understanding your college and what it has to offer is of utmost importance in terms of planning of your studies. All right. So here we have got about 4 platforms that we use. The first one that I'll speak about is the part of the classes. If most students, they actually prefer classes. Classes becomes most of their first choice. Why? Sometimes it can be the part that when it's a class, it gives a structure. Also, it sets your study pace. And sometimes it's easier for some people when there is someone that is there to actually explain the concepts. At the moment, we are having our classes via Zoom. We've received great feedback from students and also lecturers. I'm one of those lecturers, I can actually attest to that. We have actually seen our attendance actually increasing from 75% to 97%. It's probably because there is no travel that is needed when you're doing the Zoom classes. Also, you don't need any pens to actually attend the classes. It is important that you attend the classes, and it is of utmost importance also that you note that the classes, they are fast-paced, and not all work is actually covered in detail. So what we recommend is that we spoke at the beginning, that use the first day before you go for class to do what? Actually go over your material. So go over what you're going to actually cover in class, so that when you go for class already you've covered it. Research has shown that you actually have 40% more retention rate if you actually do something before you go for class, and then when you go for class, you do it again when you are with the lecturer. So it will then assist you in terms of your retention. If you're not able to come to class, there is the home study option that is there. Sometimes what will happen is that the home study option is not just about a financial decision, or maybe the location or the regional decision for you to be unable to come to class. Some students, they perform better when they are studying on their own pace. They find that sometimes the classroom environment is distracting, and they feel that they are being held back if they are in the class. And also, if you have a fair amount of discipline, I would then recommend that, yes, the home study option would be good for you. You are spoiled of choices when you're with IBTC. If you don't want home study, there is actually also online classes that are there. The good thing with online classes is that they are not per semester like the classes. You can actually start every month. So every month, there are start dates that are there, and you get weekly test submission dates. There is a tutor that is present, and the good thing is that they are pre-recorded lectures, which means you can fast forward, you can rewind, you can stop, you can pause, you can do whatever you want, so that at the end of the day, you can actually be able to understand. You can watch them again and again and again and again. Finally, we have the master classes. So with the master classes, it's a one-day boot camp where you get exam ready quickly. So you do a lot of revision in those classes of the boot camp. These are some of the students that have studied with us. Look at Solomon. Solomon attests to what happens with a lot of students. He tried it on his own and he failed several times. But when they then decided to look for an institution, it was that also he chose us as an institution, and he was able to pass first time. So we get a lot in terms of students that they try on their own first and they don't come up right. And afterwards, when they come for classes, they actually pass first time. So in terms of now the case study, in terms of the case study, we have got three options that we have: physical classes, online classes, and home study. If time permits you, I would advise that you attend the physical exam prep classes, our physical exam prep classes. We call ourselves case study experts. We always aim for 100% pass rate. And the good thing with the exam prep classes is that they come with what we call the enhanced classroom resource. If you don't know that, I would advise that you go and you watch the enhanced classroom walkthrough video with my colleague Nash. The good thing with these enhanced classroom resource, I'll just speak a little bit. The good thing about these enhanced classroom resource is on that part that you have, so your exam prep classes, you've got a local lecturer from IBTC, and then the enhanced classroom resource, you have a global lecturer from who? Straight from BPP, who is the publisher of your textbook. So with IBTC, it's on that part that you actually get the best of both. One of a global lecturer and also the local lecturer. So with IBTC, Christmas comes early with IBTC. So if you can't do the exam prep classes, you can actually also do the online or the home study option. You might actually now be tired of Patrick. So I'm actually going to my last slides. I just thought that before I finish, I could just share with you some study tips. So starting on the part of passing of an OT exam. So work through the exam blueprints. So the exam blueprints are the ones that shows you in terms of what the examiners are looking for and what in terms of that the other students would have actually not done. We call it a 60-40 rule at IBDC. 60% on the content and 40% in terms of your question practice. Do a lot of question practice, because sometimes what will happen is that you might know what is needed, but it's on that part that you might not know how to apply. And application comes from exam practice. Cover the whole syllabus. When it comes to SEMA, they literally ask you everything, literally from page 1, the contents page, to the last page. So cover everything, cover the whole syllabus. So you don't have the part that I'll spot this area. No, 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 no. And then also write your mock under exam conditions. Why? For time management. So sometimes you might find that you know your stuff, but remember, with an OT subject, it's on that part that you need to answer it within the prescribed time. If the time is gone, then the exam is finished. So it's good that you write under exam conditions. Time yourself. In terms of a case study, not the pre-scene. I think we spoke about the case study that time when I was saying, act as if you are working for the company. So when they say, who is John? You should be knowing who is John. He's more like your colleague. So know your pre-scene. And if you come for our classes, we actually give you the top 10 scenarios that you can actually encounter in the exam, which actually increases your ability to actually pass the exam. Also, as you're answering your case study, know your audience. For example, if you are speaking with a marketing manager, you should know the language to speak with a marketing manager. Don't speak jargon that the marketing manager will scratch their head to say, oh, what exactly are you saying? Also, as you are going into the exam, we spoke about this. Make sure you don't have any knowledge gaps so that at the end of the day, you can actually be able to answer your case study. Do not click next, because now what will happen is that let's say you're doing, you've got 3 tasks that you're doing. So one task is 1 hour, the other one is 1 hour, the other one is 1 hour. So if you finish the other task, let's say in 45 minutes, so you still have about 15 minutes that you have. You can't say, let me go next, and then I'll come back. Because the moment that you just close that window to go to the following task, that other window, you cannot go back. So don't click next. Use the time that you have to actually finish up. And then just a little bit of the basics. Book your exam and apply for study leave, because sometimes what will happen is that you will procrastinate. I will book your exam. At least you are working towards a project. And also visit the exam center that you're going to write. Familiarize yourself. Go there. Ask, for example, for us, we actually allow students when they come so that they can view our exam center, so that it is, go and familiarize yourself. Feel as if you're in the exam, how you would actually then feel. So, and also be familiar with your exam software. Today, I want to encourage you to talk to a consultant or a lecturer today. Please, before you leave, I would encourage you to talk to a consultant, and also, or either to a consultant or to the lecturer before you leave. Also, use our web chat function that is at the bottom right. Or what you can do, you can stay behind in a live session to chat to someone. With IBTC, there are no hidden costs. We give you, you can actually be able to pay in installments, but you have got 0% interest, free delivery. So the payment plan really makes it more affordable. Thank you, IBTC. In terms of you actually doing your court, so sometimes maybe we might actually have people who want to apply for exemptions, and they will be like, oh, no, Patrick, I think let me apply for exemptions and then I'll do the pro forma invoice afterwards. So now what happens is that the good thing with the technology is that you can actually do your quotation, and then afterwards, when you get your exemptions, you can come back. So you can actually be able to do everything online. You can come back, and then you can actually hear the reference. You can then change in terms of if you want to add more subject or remove some subjects, you can change. But you can already have a booking reference.